A lot of Louisianians who got completely soaked in the Stanford group fraud. I know you've worked diligently to try to get the SEC to pay the victims. Where are we now with that?
Well, 6 months ago we had a big victory after a lot of pushing by me and others. The SEC finally did the right thing and said, yes, Stanford victims deserve compensation under the law. There's a fund, sort of an insurance fund, set up for this sort of stuff. Then it went to a body under the SEC, independent, called SIPC.
Okay, now, so that's not a government agency?
It is a government board, but it's independent of the SEC, and they manage the fund. Unfortunately, SIPC has been stuck in the mud arguing that the Stanford victims don't qualify because of different nuances in the law. Number one, they're wrong. Number two, they're making distinctions without a difference. I've been trying to get the two bodies together to settle the issue in a reasonable way, settle and get folks real compensation quickly. And I've been meeting and having phone calls with the chairs of the SEC and SIPC. I've probably had about 10 of those in the last month and a half. Unfortunately, it looks like the SEC is going to have to sue SIPC, which I'm pushing them hard to do now so we can go forward and make this happen. And I think you'll see that happen this week.
So you can't get the two heads in the same room together?
No, it's been very, very frustrating. I think SIPC is really being unreasonable under the law, so the SEC just needs to sue them.
Yeah, okay. So we'll be following that and make sure that there's restitution on that.
Absolutely.
How are we doing with all the coastal restoration down on the coast?
Well, it's moving forward. You know, a lot of things would move that forward even much more aggressively. Probably the biggest that I'm working on with others is this legislation to dedicate 80% of the Clean Water Act fines from the BP disaster to Gulf Coast restoration. And that is passed out of a committee I serve on in the Senate. Now we're trying to get it to the Senate floor, trying to get Harry Reid to schedule it for the Senate floor. That would be billions of dollars for Louisiana alone. All told for the Gulf Coast, it might be $12 billion total. The figure's still up in the air. So that would be a big step forward for our coastal restoration efforts. Another part of that is really revamping the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and streamlining that process. Because unfortunately, they're a huge bureaucracy that really gets stuck in the mud very often. And I'm introducing bipartisan legislation to cut through that bureaucracy and cut through the backlog of projects they have. I've also asked the Government Accounting Office for a full and complete, detailed, really unprecedented audit of the Corps so we can break through that bureaucratic logjam.